But we made a temporary moment last longer than what it needed to last. Because had we not been circulating all them memes, had all these TikTok comedians and Facebook comedians did a little bit about it, like it happened on Sunday, people would have stopped talking about it Wednesday. It happened on Sunday, people would have stopped talking about it on Wednesday had not been for all these people chiming in, doing part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the slap, interviewing people from all angles. And my whole thing, as long as we're talking about interviewing people, they were sitting up there interviewing people that wasn't at the Oscars. They was sitting up there interviewing people that's never won an Oscar, that don't know Will Smith, never met Will Smith, never met or worked with Will Smith, met or worked with Chris Rock, their opinion on it, even though it does have something to do with all of us as black people, but why are we sensationalizing it? See, if we don't give it a voice, it won't get heard. If we don't give it a face, it won't get seen. Because like I said, we don't live in the perfect world. In the perfect world, this scenario would have played out. In the perfect world, Chris Rock would have said what he said in the perfect world. And so, Jada shoots Will the side eye in the perfect world. In the perfect world, Will would have consoled Jada. He would have grabbed her up in his masculine arms and he said, "Don't worry, my darling. This atrocity will not stand. I will defend your honor." In the perfect world, "Sir, you owe my wife, my beautiful untainted wife, an apology for your outburst. How dare you? You will apologize this second." In the perfect world. We don't live in the perfect world. We live in this world. And he did what he did. 2 tears in a bucket, you know what it. So that's all I really got to say on that particular incident. Is just like we need to stop being online sensationalizing things that don't need to be sensationalized. Like we literally got bigger fish to fry in our community. People still getting beat up and killed by the police. People still are jobless in our communities. Yes, it's hard to believe. Ripley's believe it or not, there's a whole bunch of black people still not back to work, still not gainfully employed or having any type of money since the pandemic, not back on their feet, bounced back from it. Our kids are still being, treated bad in public schools. We still got a whole lot of problems. That moment didn't need to be sensationalized, because when you sensationalize it, moments like that takes away from more pressing issues. Because we can apply the pressure elsewhere. We can apply the pressure into getting our reparations. We can apply the pressure into them giving tangible things to the black community. And for all the skeptics saying, "Well, the government ain't gonna give you nothing. They ain't never give us nothing. Don't be sitting up there waiting on the white man to help you. They ain't gonna help you." Well, yeah, but they ain't gonna refuse you if you put pressure on them either. And history has shown they ain't refuse us when we put pressure on us. Like the Montgomery boycott, that was pressure. That happened. Segregation happened because we put pressure on them, not because they would just want to eventually do it anyway. We was putting pressure on them. Well, see, we get sidetracked and we be putting pressure on the wrong things that don't need to be pressurized. Like that moment, it didn't need to be sensationalized. Because all everybody was doing was just sitting up here speculating. Because half Hollywood wasn't there. The ones that was didn't really care. It wasn't really like, And then another thing that kind of irked me was black people actually saying, I didn't know whether I was watching the Oscars or the Source Awards. Like, everybody, every human being, black, white, or whatever, is capable of that level of violence. And I think I already covered it as well. As a side effect, all these things opening up, everybody, you know, exhibiting fight or flight, because that we was cooped up in our house for like 2 or 3 months like prisoners. And, you know, we saw what a certain group of people did with their fight or flight at the Capitol Hill riots. We saw that. We saw what a certain group of people was doing when they was told to, you know, when the mask mandate was in effect. They showed up with AR-15 rifles talking about, no, they not. We want to be in compliance with the mask mandate. We saw video after video after video with a certain group of people when their fight or flight acts up on airlines about the mask. So, like, don't do us a disservice. Don't help them discredit us. That's what I'm saying. Don't help them discredit us. Something else that's just now circulating in the news as well is people is putting words in Fat Joe's mouth, saying stuff he didn't say. And the thing they're saying he said, he didn't say. The reporter that was asked him the question, the reporter said, do you think what happened at the Oscars makes the minorities look bad? He said, yes, that makes us look bad. He didn't say we're minorities, because we're not minorities. Black people in this country have not been minorities within like the last 2 or 3 decades here in the United States. Longer, globally. It's like if you trace your lineage back to Africa, Africa is a continent. That's not a minority. We're not minority in this country. It's a dog whistle when they say minority. It's a dog whistle when they say urban. It's a dog whistle when they say underserved. The only reason why we're underserved is because y'all refuse to service us. Because now we're getting the money. So now we're getting the money to pay for the land. Now we have the money to buy businesses. They won't sell them to us. That's the only reason why we underserved, because y'all refuse to service. You want to keep the balance of power shifted one way. So that's all I want to say about that. We got to quit we got to quit doing the enemy's job for them. And the enemy's job is to have us looking crazy and sounding crazy. Now, like I said, it was an impulsive moment, whether you still believe it was staged or not. It was an impulsive moment, and the moment has passed. And so when we have, you know, ultra rare moments occur, we don't need to sensationalize it. We don't need to have like 90 million YouTube discussion panels talking about a moment. We don't. We don't need to circulate 70, 80 million memes. Every single comedian in the blogosphere don't need to do a TikTok sketch or a Facebook sketch on the moment. Like it happened Sunday, people still talking about it. Why are they still talking about it? Because we keep on still sensationalizing it. It doesn't need a voice. It doesn't need, you know, an audience. It doesn't need a platform. That does not need a platform. We got to stop giving stuff like that a platform. Because again, the media is supply and demand business. If they notice that we don't want to see the messiness, the ratchetness, they'll stop, you know, giving it a voice. It'll stop existing. You want to hear a different genre of music in hip hop? Support a different genre. There's all kinds of people that are have positive content. All kinds of people talking about empowerment and upliftment. Support them. Put pressure on the DJs. Put pressure on the radio stations. Put pressure on the owners of the record label. Put pressure on Jimmy Iovine. Put pressure on all these people behind the scenes, on these producers that produce these television series. Every time they misrepresent us, we can do it in emails. We can physically show up and show out, and when we do it enough, they'll stop. Plain and simple. But no, we just in that mentality where I'm gonna worry about me and mine. I'm gonna just grind and hustle and I'm gonna get it. I ain't gonna worry about what he said, they said, she. I don't be worried about he said, she said, they said. I just be worried about me and mine. Like having that mentality, like, bro, we're all the same. If another black person isn't functioning at their full capacity, that's your problem too. Whether you want to concede to it or not. Whether you want to concede to it or not. And if you ain't a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Because that me and mine stuff, that's not going to get you too far. Because yours, doing it for yours, they're not going to appreciate it. They're going to feel entitled, like you have to because your mom, you have to because your dad. See, our lineage is we build tribes. Tribes. Not just families, we build tribes. And tribes have branches within branches, sub-branches, side branches. So it takes all of this to overcome this thing. So I'll close my speaking point out there, my final thoughts. Just stand on it, man. Whatever you pick in life, stand on it. Stand on it, stand on it. That's like wrong or right. Well, no, if it's wrong, admit it's wrong. Because another thing I want to touch on, some people don't believe in apologizing. Apologies aren't for you, it's for the other person. Because I know you can get an insincere apology. They can just say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And another one, a clincher, is like some little misnomers is when somebody says no disrespect, but if somebody says no disrespect, they're about to disrespect the heck out of you. No offense, but they're about to offend you. So also in saying that, leave people alone. Leave people alone, man. You don't never know nobody's emotional trigger. It's just like we thought we had Will figured out. Like, hey. But Chris Rock ain't no sucker either, because that could have went another way. Anybody born in New York ain't no sucker. No matter how meek and timid they may appear. So like, ain't nobody just really pushed Chris Rock's button yet. But when that button activates, So leave people alone, man. Don't be on line antagonizing people. Don't sit up here making fake pages to get underneath somebody's skin, because you're going to find out. You're going to get what you're looking for. And just, man, we got to just start being patient with each other, being tolerant of one another, and loving up on each other, and being there for each other and supporting each other. And so those are my final words today. In leaving you, before I come to a close, I would just ask you download this episode and all future episodes of the Narrative Podcast. And observation of National Poetry Month, which is